Hey, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. If you're working on voice training, it's easy to get bogged down in you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing this 1,000 times a day. It can be really overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 things you should not be doing if you are working on voice training. And it's just 3. It's not a huge list, just a few things. So that you don't get overwhelmed. So let's get started. So the first thing is to not focus solely on the outcome of voice training. So it seems like, counterintuitive. You're like, okay, I want to work on voice training and I'm working towards that thing, so I'm thinking about where I want to go. But actually overly focusing on that can prevent you from getting there. So that's because you might not be satisfied with any of the progress you make unless it's exactly what you want it to be ultimately. Voice training is really about playing around with your voice, getting to know your voice, and being able to kind of turn the dials on your voice to be able to ultimately get where you want to be. But if you're not able to kind of appreciate that process, and if you're not able to loosen up enough to play around with your voice, or to accept that your voice is, you know what, I'm just making this sound so that I can learn this technique so that eventually I'll get where I'm going. If you're not able to loosen up enough to do that, you're not going to, just magically get there. Tensing up or, being too upset with yourself about the fact that you're not where you want to be, it doesn't help you. So of course this is easier said than done, but I think that if you kind of break things down and appreciate the progress that you do make in shorter kind of increments of time, or, I think that can be really helpful so that you're not overly focused on that goal. The second thing is to not focus on your voice being perfect in order for you to use it in conversation. So in order to actually improve with using these new techniques in conversation, you have to do it. So you have to be okay with going into situations, conversational situations, where you're not sure if you are going to speak perfectly. So putting yourself out of your comfort zone in these new situations is what's going to help you to improve. You're going to build trust with yourself and, oh wow, I could do that, or oh, I learned from this thing. And the more you do that, the more comfortable you're going to be and the more progress that you're going to make. If you're like, okay, I've been working on voice training for 6 months, I'm finally going to try to use it in conversation. You might be frustrated because your voice can be perfect in your version of perfect when you are practicing phrases or sentences, but then when you go to use your voice conversationally, it's not as easy. So kind of doing that at the same time, working on phrases and sentences and techniques and conversation at the same time can be really helpful, so you don't feel like really overwhelmed with that idea of perfection. And the third thing is to not try and cut any corners. So with voice training, there's no quick fix. I think it's easy to think, well, if I just had the one right exercise, or if I just had X amount of time, or if I just had the right teacher, or any of those things. So exercises, time to practice, a good teacher, all those things are going to be helpful, but no single thing is going to magically change your voice. There are so many different elements involved in voice training, in terms of technique, but also in terms of confidence and kind of your mental space and emotional piece behind it as well. So you're breaking down these habits that you've had your whole life. You're not going to just magically have a new voice over the course of a week or after you do a single exercise. So it's important to think about this as more of a process of, spending the time practicing and trying to find the joy in practicing and being on the journey along the way. Thank you so much for watching this video. I just thought of another thing. You also shouldn't be hard on yourself. That's again easier said than done. But go easy on yourself, because this can be a challenging process that involves a lot of patience. So please take good care of yourself. Please be kind to yourself. If you're interested in taking a lesson, there's a link down in the description where you can book a session with me. Don't hesitate to reach out with any comments. I love to hear from you, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.